It has just been confirmed today and confirmed now by Fabrizio Romano that future right wing back star that I think will be a brilliant fit for Ruben Amorim's system, Bendito Mantato. It's confirmed he's signing a new 4-year deal at Manchester United. New deal now confirmed for the star. We're going to talk about him, why that's exciting, and why I think out of all the academy players, he's almost the one I'm most excited about because I see him as the fit for Amorim's system. Also, Moise Kean links. Yes, a player that flopped at Everton, but has been pretty good since leaving Everton. And I saw loads of people react to these links online, like so fuming, so angry, like no, 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 no. Especially because I guess we've got Højlund from Italy and other strikers from Italy, and it's not worked out. But he's 25 now, and he does have 17 goals in the Serie A this season. And he was like 19 when he was at Everton and crap, which tells you we shouldn't be writing 19, 20-year-olds off because they can go to Serie A and become good. But we will talk about that because £43 million deal on the table, release clause active for 2 weeks in the window. And Manchester United, INEOS, they're very interested in triggering release clauses. And if they can't get Liam Delap, this is one they could hover over. We're going to talk about that. Ornstein is giving the latest on Bruno to Saudi. He gets indications that Bruno is not interested in moving to Saudi, but he adds a few other things which could change that. There is reports coming out from sources I'm not super familiar with about Luis Campos meeting Sir Alex Ferguson. You might be asking, well, why is that necessary? Well, obviously last week news came out. Well, it wasn't even last week. It was like 3 days ago, news came out that Manchester United were in advanced talks to bring a new sporting director, Luis Campos, although more reliable sources said they're not aware of this. And we did a video on, like, well, we spoke about it in my live stream, how he'd be a fantastic addition, but the rumours sort of got quieted down quite quickly. So, you know, could this add some fuel to the rumours, him leaving PSG, looking for a new job? And then we'll just dive into some things that Garnacho said in his press conference. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to the 10-minute roundup, where I had the longest intro ever, and probably gave you quite a bit of information in that intro. But yeah, let's get into the stories. So, Solly said earlier today that Bendito Mantato is set to sign his professional contract with Manchester United today, and then moments later, Fabrizio Romano then confirmed Bendito Mantato new deal at United until 2029 confirmed. So, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Bendito Mantato has signed a new-year deal at Manchester United, new deal at Manchester United, new 4-year deal confirmed. So, let's talk a little bit about this player and this talent and why this is exciting. First of all, he is a right winger, and I think he's definitely able to play right wing back. And he's played for United's under-18s, had a few injury issues this season, but on his return looked good. Last season looked good. Beginning of this season looked fantastic. He's been compared to Saka, starting as a left back, going into right wing, can play right back, left wing, right wing. Has played all of those positions. So right wing back and what Ruben Amorim would want, you know, it very much suits him. He's sort of seen as that Kender kind of player. Now he's very good with his dribbling. I think he's quite unpredictable. He's quite two-way ball carrier. You know, he has elements of Saka in him. He can go left, he can go right. He's comfortable on both feet, and he's very good in 1v1 situations, both defensively and going forward. I think for a guy that's definitely more attack than defense, he'd be more of an attacking wing back than a defensive wing back. I do think defensively he's pretty solid. You know, very, very good at getting up and down the line, very good at tracking back. Seems to have quite good power and pace with him, and defensively looks decent. I think on the ball looks good, confident dribbler, as I said, strong passer, and looks pretty press resistant. I think he uses his body well. I think he's got those legs to really get up and down and cause an issue. And what I like about him is, as I said, he's sort of a two-way winger. He can go on the left, he can go on the right. What I mean is he can cut in and go on the inside and go in the tight spaces. He can go on the outside, beat his man for pace, put in a cross. And that's what I like, unpredictability. And I think in the academy, and I was speaking to somebody about this, but they said, look, he's a big mentality player. He's always switched on, he's coachable, and he thrives under responsibility. And I was talking to someone that watches the academy a lot, and they said that's what they said about Bendito Mantato. And they said out of all of the players, he's probably the best fit for Ruben Amorim's system in terms of the profile that Ruben Amorim wants, how he moulded Kender. He said this is definitely one to watch. We're seeing Harry Amas already have a go at left wing back and being impressive. And I think there's no doubt that Mantato could get opportunities at right wing back. He might even get opportunities in the Premier League. I know we've got some bigger Premier League games coming up, But Dalot is out injured for the rest of the season. We're focused on Europa League. Man United may want to rest Mazraoui. They might look at the Chelsea game on the Friday, not want to take too many risks. He could play. Obviously, Camerson as well is a more defensive. He is more of a natural fullback, whereas Mantato is more of a winger. They are involved in Europa League training and the Europa League squad because of the injuries to Dalot. So definitely could see minutes from him this season. He is one of the players that is very highly rated at Manchester United and could get minutes. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think we'll definitely see him in pre-season. But he's 17 years of age. He's been compared to Bukayo Saka, right wing back, pace, dribbling. It's probably his strengths. He's creative. He's got a good work rate, and decent shot on him as well. But let's continue on into some more news and stories. So this has come out of Italy. It was also said by Santi as well, who's a good source of information, that United are now considering Moise Kean as a striker option. Kean joins the shortlist, which has Gyökeres, Delap and Osimhen on, although Osimhen's kind of been ruled out. Osimhen and Gyökeres, we know if we're going to get them, it's Champions League football. Gyökeres looks more like than Osimhen. Delap seems to focus. Some sources say David's on the list, but that's not been confirmed by reliable outlets. But they mentioned that he has a 43 million release clause from July 1st to July 15th. And as I've said, I think INEOS really do like looking at clauses. Joshua Zirkzee had a 34 million release clause active for 2 weeks. Joan Garcia, we've been linked with, has a 21 million release clause. Johnny Cardozo, we've been linked to, has a 21 million release clause as well. Delap has a 30 million clause. Cunha has a 62 million clause. Manchester United definitely looking to take advantage of clauses. I'm surprised we haven't been linked to Angelo Stiller, or maybe we just feel that we can't attract him to the club. There's definitely something with United and clauses at the moment. Now, Man United signing a striker from Italy, a player that flopped in the Premier League. I know what you mean. Now, when I've watched him this season, he has been good. I haven't watched loads of him, but he has impressed me when I've watched him this season. He looks like a completely different player to the player we saw at Everton. When he was at Everton, he was a 19, 20-year-old kid, and he's now 25, he's in his prime. And this is what I'm saying. We can't write strikers off at 20 years of age, 19 years of age, particularly in the Premier League. He might not be fit for the Premier League. He could come to Manchester United and be awful, but he's definitely not the same player we saw at Everton in the Premier League. He's a lot better. He's had a few good, decent seasons. And I'm not totally against this. He wouldn't be in my top 5 picks for striker, but I can see why United are looking at him. The only problem with him is he thrives on, I think, consistency, confidence and service, and that's not something we can give him. The 23-24 season, I know he only played about 600 minutes of football, but he didn't get a single goal in the 23-24 season, and he didn't have the most convincing season the year before. He's had injury issues. Like this season, he's been really good, but the other seasons before, he has had injury issues. He hasn't been the most convincing. So for me, it's a risk, and I probably wouldn't do it, but I'm not totally against it. But I probably would look elsewhere, in my opinion. But Man United are interested in clauses, and he has been very, very good this season. But I just don't think, with the lack of service, with the pressure, with what he'd done in the Premier League, I don't think he'd be ready for United. But he is an example of, just because he was crap at 19, 20 doesn't mean he'll be crap at 25. And, we could look at Højlund in 3 years' time. Højlund could go to Italy in 3 years' time and put up ridiculous numbers. You've always got to remember that with strikers. This was some Luis Campos news. Now, I don't know how reliable Sports News Africa are, but they put out this report, which was translated to basically saying Luis Campos has been spotted in a meeting with Sir Alex Ferguson at the Peninsula Hotel in Paris. And apparently it was then been reposted by Roman Molonia, who, according to MEFCPB, is a reliable source of information. So obviously we spoke the other day, Luis Campos, Manchester United links. One source said he was in advanced talks. If INEOS bring him in as a sporting director, it could be one of the best moves that INEOS do. He's one of the best of the best. The work he's done at Monaco and Lille and now PSG, the players he's brought in, the PSG rebuild, it would be a fantastic addition. But there's always question marks of, was there overcrowding with Dan Ashworth and Berardo and Wilcox and Vivel? Was that overcrowding? Do United want to bring in a sporting director? I don't know. Could be one to watch, but the story that came out the other day about him being in advanced talks with United was shut down. Maybe United are interested in him, but there was no advanced talks and United wanted to shut that down. Maybe there's nothing in there. Maybe this is made up, but I think it's just one to watch. The final stories I want to get into is on what David Ornstein said on Bruno Fernandes today. He said Bruno is not interested in leaving Man United as things stand. He said that United see him as non-transferable and key to the rebuild, and that United will not entertain offers regardless of the financial situation. He said eye-watering Saudi numbers could test the stance, but for now he stays. Club determined to build around him. going forward. So basically, what he's saying is, as of now, Bruno isn't interested in leaving. But look, there could be a number that changes Bruno's mind. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, not for sale. Player doesn't want to go. He's saying there's not too much in it as of now. I think if we don't win the Europa League and we don't have Champions League football and Saudi put a big number in front of Bruno, Bruno will probably have a think about that, and you can't blame him for that. But United don't want to sell him. But Saudi are really pushing. Maybe United do a deal where they let him go on to Saudi on loan for a month so he can play in the Club World Cup. Who knows? Because there's a transfer window opening before the Club World Cup and then stops. Then after, maybe United could make a bit of money out of that if they're that desperate. But I'm not sure. And then obviously, last but not least, Garnacho was involved in the press conference today ahead of the Bilbao game. He was asked about his future in Manchester United, and he said he was happy at United. His contract's till 2028. But he was also asked about sort of the new system and different things and all of that. And he just said, I think it's difficult for everyone when in the middle of the season a new manager comes in and changes formation. We just need to follow the rules, and I'm trying to improve every day. I think we're improving as a team, is basically what he said about it. And I thought it was a good question to ask him. And I think Garnacho has been frustrating this season, but I do think he has improved these last few games. I think his decision-making is better. His awareness is better. I'm seeing improvement in Garnacho, and I'm seeing positive signs. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.